It all began with rain, not the soft, quiet kind, but heavy rain that felt like it wanted to wash everything away. Elena Carlson pulled her coat tighter and hurried down the empty street. Her arms hugged a stack of old books to her chest like a shield. Her shoes slipped on the wet sidewalk, and before she could catch herself, she fell hard onto the ground. Her knees stung, her hands were scraped, and her books lay scattered in the puddles like forgotten things. She sat there for a moment, too tired to even cry. That's when she noticed him, a man standing in the rain, watching her calmly. He didn't rush, he didn't shout, he just held out his hand. She looked at him, dark skin, kind eyes, a small smile on his face like he wasn't afraid of the storm. "You okay?" he asked, his voice soft. Elena wasn't sure why she trusted him, but she reached up and took his hand. That's how she met Will. Elena grew up in a house where love had rules, big rules, quiet rules, rules no one dared to speak out loud. Her father, George Gerald Carlson, believed some people were simply better than others. Usually, people who looked and lived exactly like him. Money mattered, skin color mattered more. Respect was given based on family names, not hearts. Her mother had learned to live quietly beside him, like a ghost that wore pearls. Robert Langston was the man her father wanted for her, wealthy, white, from a family that played golf on Sundays and judged people by their last names. Robert didn't really love Elena. He just saw her as something that fit neatly into his life. No one asked Elena what she wanted. Will's world couldn't have been more different. His home was small but full of warmth. His parents laughed loud, cooked big meals, and hugged without waiting for permission. There were pictures everywhere, even if the frames didn't match. His nieces and nephews ran wild through rooms where no one told them to be quiet. Love wasn't earned here, it was just given. Elena's first dinner there was noisy and messy and wonderful. She had never felt so welcome in her whole life. It wasn't the world she came from, but it was the world she wanted. They found an apartment together, small, a little run down, but theirs. Leaky faucets, old carpets, but it had a door they could lock and a bed they could share. They made it a home with second-hand furniture and fairy lights they hung up together. Every night, they dreamed about the future in quiet voices. Winters meant huddling close under two thin blankets. Summers meant fans buzzing in the window while they laughed over cheap takeout. Will couldn't offer her money or safety like Robert, but he gave her something far more precious: peace. It couldn't last without the world noticing. Letters started coming, ugly words from people hiding behind no names, telling her she didn't belong with him, that he would ruin her life, that they would never let it happen. Her job became harder, people stopped calling. Even her so-called friends began to look away when they saw her. And Robert? Robert smiled whenever he passed her at work, like he was waiting for her to fall. But she didn't, because Will never let her forget that love was still worth it. She went home for Christmas one last time. Her father's house was beautiful but cold. The Christmas tree sparkled, but no one smiled with their hearts. Robert was there, sitting by her father like a prince waiting for his prize. Her father looked at her like she had betrayed him. "You embarrassed this family," he said. But Elena had learned by then that family was not the people who shamed you for loving, She stood, gathered her things, and walked out into the cold night. Her father didn't follow. She and Will moved farther from the city to a quieter place where neighbors smiled and children played in yards. They had little, but they had each other. One evening, beneath the stars, Will asked simply, "Together?" And she said yes without hesitation. They married without fancy clothes or guests, just promises and rings and hope. They found happiness in small things: warm mornings, soft music, knowing looks. And then, one spring day, Elena realized they were about to become three. A baby, a new beginning. Her mother came to her one rainy night. She looked older, tired in a way Elena hadn't noticed before. "I stayed with your father because I was too scared not to," she admitted. "But you were brave." They sat together in the small living room, hands touching across the space between them. Her mother cried as she touched Elena's growing belly. "I want to know her. I want to do better for her than I did for you." For the first time in years, Elena believed her. One day, Will opened the door and there stood Elena's father. He looked thinner, older, tired beneath his fine coat. The rain had softened even him. He didn't speak of forgiveness, just regret. "I thought I was protecting you," he said. "I see now I was only protecting myself from change, from fear. I was wrong." Elena's father said to her. He didn't ask for anything more than a chance to try. Will, steady as always, offered his hand, not because he had to, but because love teaches forgiveness, and when nothing else can. Time passed, seasons changed again. Their little girl grew up in sunshine, running barefoot through grass. Her laughter filled the house that Elena had once thought too small. Her mother planted flowers outside, her father, awkward but learning, later held his granddaughter like something fragile and precious. Robert was long gone, forgotten like a bad memory. Elena sat on the porch with Will, their child asleep between them. Fireflies blinked in the night air, soft and gentle. She thought of all the things she had lost, all the things she had found. Love didn't fix everything, but it had fixed enough. Enough to bring her here, enough to build a life that stood tall and proud, no matter the storm. Thanks for your time. Like, share, and subscribe. And see you on the next one. Cheers.